Abdullah Fazal Vidaus, and I am from SMA Negeri Satu Gelaga. And today, I am standing with the government team and with the motion of this house would give social services and skill training for gambling offenders rather than imprisonment. Okay, let's get to know these motions better. Now, gambling offender. What is a gambling offender? Any person or entity that violates gambling laws engaging in activities like illegal betting, opening business or unlicensed gambling business, and funding an online gambling sites. And then we can get into gambling addiction. What is a gambling addiction, you may all ask? A gambling addiction is the uncontrollable urge to keep gambling despite the toll that it takes on someone's life. Now, before I move onward with my argument, I would like to state that I want to establish that we're specifically talking about gambling addicts as such in the context of this gambling addicts as a mental disorder or a gambling problem. Okay, so why should we opt for rehab over over imprisonment? Focusing on rehabilitation can actually solve the root of the problem, considering that gambling addiction is a mental problem rather than an actual crime. Example of stealing, assaulting, counterfeiting, etc. Now, let's get a deep dive into this gambling addiction autonomy, In the site of Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation, dopamine, specifically from gambling, actually makes the brain have a high level of dopamine. Henceforth, it will be able to tolerate if it were to be continued. Sooner or later, the brain of these addicts will actually be able to tolerate the high level of dopamine. Henceforth, they will be needing more level of dopamine. Or in this case, we are talking about gambling, so they need to gamble more just to get the same excitement of the first time that they ever gambled. Now, rehab actually addresses the root of the problem. Rather, if we were just to go to get them into an imprisonment, how, you may all ask? An article of the Neuroscience and of Punishment and Addiction states that punishment only impacts addiction on a punitive measure of seconds and also causes stress, anxiety, and negative emotional states. In contrast of that, a study published by the Journal of Addiction Medicine found that rehab, in this case they were using contingency management, is more effective in reducing addiction. Now, what are the perks of rehab rather than imprisonment? We can put these addicts to social service, skill training, or aftercare, so we can actually achieve a better economy and social benefits from them. For say, if we were going to the imprisonment route, the budget is blown out the house. It would be spent on housing, food, and security. Rather than wasting all that money and resources to the imprisonment way, we can opt for more sustainable way. Example, in Abdi Foundation is planning to use a tactics for gambler addicts, which they use them as a workforce. So, in the hopes that they can re-enter society with more better and more ready. And with that, we can actually build a more steady economy and we can allocate the taxpayers' money for other things that is more important and more dire. Henceforth, it will be more efficient. Now, the last point is the importance of rehab. A study that was conducted by John E. Grace and Samuel R. Chamberlain shows that over 43.3% of people with gambling disorders have been reported of gambling-related illegal behaviors, such as theft and fraud, to fund their own habit of gambling and to pay off their debts. Without addressing the addiction, the likelihood of an addict re-offending upon release from prison is very much high. By providing the skill training and the therapeutic support, The government can help these addicts develop a healthy coping mechanisms and significantly lowers the chance of them returning to a life of crime, henceforth breaking the cycle of addiction. That is all of my point. I thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
5 menit lebih 10 detik.